and then you drop it down to Coakley. They're running a $700,000 ad in favor of Coakley, throwing some negative ads towards Scott Brown. Well, people have to be outraged. Is this not just crony government at work?
Oh, yeah, it's an outrage, and the fact that you have secret meetings going on with President Obama going behind closed doors with Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, and he's bringing in lobbyists. He's bringing in lobbyists for big labor to cut deals for big labor. Who else is in the room? I think the American people have a right to have C-SPAN cameras in the room. They have the right to know what's going on, what deals are being cut, because we may have another Ben Nelson situation where there are earmarks, you know, a Cornhusker deal or something like that, that we don't know about until we're allowed to see it.
All right, Michael, do me a favor. I'm trying to do the math. We're losing $60 billion of revenue from the union portion of the Cadillac tax. Where's he going to make that up, my friend? Where's that coming from?
Well, that remains to be seen. They're talking about reducing payments to insurance companies. They're talking about taking things away from the biologics manufacturers that they promised to them. They're talking about reducing payments to nursing homes and other health care providers. The problem is they can exempt the unions from this tax so that non-union workers are paying higher taxes than union workers. But in order to pay for this massive entitlement, they have to get the money from somewhere, and so they're going to have to upset someone in order to make that happen. They're trying to get more money out of the drug companies. And so that just because they struck a deal with the unions doesn't mean that they've really solved the problem here.
Michelle, there's another big hurdle.
The problem that they face about how to pay for this.
Let me go to Michelle. There's another big hurdle here. This bill that they have to mash between the House and the Senate has a big hurdle. It has abortion in it. Now, Bart Stupak of the House says he's not signing anything that would in any way, shape, or form fund an abortion through an entitlement program. So how does it go from, you know, the Senate version where Ben Nelson took the $100 million Medicare and Medicaid payoff and decided to sign on the dotted line? How does that get through the House now?
Well, I hope that Bart Stupak remains stalwart. The problem is with so many of these so-called moderate Democrats, we've seen them fold every time. Ben Nelson did. Now he got a huge backlash from his constituents, not just on the bribery part, but also on the abortion funding part of it as well. And he's retreating. He's saying, oh, I think everybody should get the same deal I did. And how are they going to pay for that on top of that? How is this going to get through? Well, of course, the Democrats, who are in full freak-out mode, are gaming this all out, and it's possible that the Senate might try and force the House to swallow what they put through so that they can expedite it on this timeline. But I think another thing that people have to worry about here is what's going on in the ground in Massachusetts over this weekend. We talked about the unions, the Service Employees International Union. They're going to be putting at least 300 people on the ground, on buses. We've seen their thug tactics over the last year, and I think that the Republican Party, Brown's people have to be very aware of this, gird their loins, and be prepared for the kind of tactics that we've seen at these town halls.
All right, we have to leave it there. Michelle Malcolm, thank you very much. Fox News contributor, but a columnist. Also, Brian Darling he's the Director of Senate Relations at the Heritage Foundation, and Michael Cannon, the Director of Health Policy Studies at the Cato Institute. Thank you very much, all three of you. Okay, next week on the Glenn Beck program, as Glenn has said time and time again, we must educate ourselves. We have to know the truth about out-of-control government and what it's done. It has led humankind in the past. A week from today, don't miss Glenn's special detailing events that most Americans have never heard about, images almost no one has seen, and stories that most people don't want to know. Here's a preview, but a quick warning, some of what you're about to see is disturbing.
A lot of people seem to think that this concept of the gas chamber as a tool of social policy was invented by the Nazis. It wasn't.
To his places of work, to his places of recreation. We will attack the enemy wherever he lives. He preempted Al-Qaeda by 30, 40 years.
Within 1 year, several million people I believe it is certainly comparable to the great genocides of the 20th century.
My family was in the living room watching television, and they see my grandfather. Of course, they're happy, to see him walking, and they realized that he was walking towards the wall.
It wasn't a mistake. It was intentional policy to exterminate people.
He said that his dream was to become a killing machine.
Our great teacher, great leader, Chairman Mao.
Planned and premeditated mass murder.
And nobody was interested in knowing about it.
If you're not producing as much as you consume, or perhaps a little more, your life does not benefit us, and it can't be of very much use to yourself.
Don't miss that special presentation a week from today. Next, the new bank tax, Cadillac tax, and record foreclosure rates. It all comes back to your and my wallet. We'll be right back. All right, the federal government certainly likes to spend your and my taxpayer dollars. Recently, check it out, they spent $700 billion on TARP, $787 billion on stimulus. Hey, by the way, that stimulus package, those are $400,000 per jobs they're creating. $180 billion either spent or lent to AIG. Don't forget the $115 billion. These are all B's. $1 billion to Fannie and Freddie, $83 billion to cars. We're not going to see a dime of this. Don't forget the $1 trillion on health care, cap and trade, et cetera, et cetera. And this one, can you close up on this one? Take a look at this one. $60 billion as of last night going to the unions to buy health care votes. All right, here's the other side of that, the new revenue. Look at that, zero. $4 trillion of spending, zero new revenue. All right, and don't forget the $100 million for the Louisiana Purchase and the $300 million for the $300 million for Louisiana Purchase and the $100 million for the Nebraska Cornhusker kickback. Ryan Ellis, Tax Policy Director for the Americans for Tax Reform. He joins us. Ryan, thanks for joining us. What about it, my friend? How are we going to pay for all this spending? I just outlined about $4 trillion in spending. Where's it going to come from?
Well, I think we both know the answer to that question. It's going to come from us. It's going to come from the American people. You simply cannot increase spending at this level. When President Obama came in, spending was about 20% of the economy, federal spending. His goal is to raise it to 25 or even 30% of the economy. That has to come from higher taxes. That has to come from things like applying the Medicare tax to investment income, which is something they've talked about. Has to come from a new value-added tax, which is something that they keep floating. Has to come from this new bank tax that they're talking about. Every day it seems like there's a new tax idea coming out of this administration or their friends on the Hill.
Okay, so, Obama, the president, as campaigner, promised no new taxes on anyone making less than $250,000. Then I think it got down to $200,000. In order to pay for all this spending, we have two options. We can either just lop it onto the deficit or pay for it. If we do decide to pay for it, what is it? Is it middle-class tax hike on the way?
Well, first of all, he's already broken that promise once, and he's trying to break it multiple times in this health care bill. He broke it less than a month or two into office when he signed that tobacco tax hike. The average income of a smoker in this country is $36,000 a year, which the last time I checked was a little bit less than $250,000. And if you go to our website, atr.org, you'll find we have a document on there that shows there are no fewer than 7. And some people would even say as many as 8 or 9. We're being a little conservative and saying there's about 7 tax increases in this health care bill, which President Obama has endorsed, which would clearly and easily and without any dispute raise taxes on families making less than $250,000 per year. So it's already happening.
All right, let's talk about this bank tax that we found out about this week. The president came out and he said, I want our money back. I'm going to tax the bank. We need to tax the banks. How is this not a tax or a fee that's just going to end up being, passed right along to you and me, the depositors of some of these institutions?
Well, look, you'd find me at the front of the line, and I think you'd find most conservatives saying we didn't ever want TARP to happen.
And if TARP was getting paid back, and that's what this was all about, we probably wouldn't want to do it through the tax system, but we would like to see taxpayers see their TARP funds recouped. The problem is that this bank tax has little to nothing to actually do with TARP. There are people that are going to be banks that are going to be paying this tax that never received TARP funds. There are going to be recipients of TARP funds that aren't going to have to pay this tax. So the tether between this tax and TARP is weak, to say the least. Look, what this really is about is trying to get the people to shift over their frustration with government, which thankfully they have. They think that the government is moving too far, too fast, spending too much, regulating too much. And Obama is trying to dangle this little bauble over here saying, well, hey, look at these big, scary banks. Why don't you turn your anger at them?
Well,
that's what
Ryan,
this is all about.
Let me interrupt you a little bit, but I frankly am a little upset. J.P. Morgan made $3 billion. They reported today $3 billion in the quarter.